Well, 2 weeks after earthquakes flattened much of the region and killed more than 46,000 people, southern Turkey has been hit by another earthquake. The country's Disaster and Emergency Agency said a 6.3 magnitude tremor struck close to the city of Antakya at 8 o'clock in the evening, local time. It was followed by 3 aftershocks, the strongest of which was a 5.8 near the town of Samandag.
A familiar feeling, the ground shaking, the instant fear, the rush to safety. Reports of more deaths began to trickle in, just weeks after the area was devastated by an historic earthquake.
Well, China's top diplomat Wang Yi is holding talks in Moscow with Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov. China says its stance on Russia's invasion of Ukraine is neutral. This is Yi's last stop on an 8-day international tour that included visits to France, Italy and Hungary and to the Munich Security Conference.
China wants to play the role of an arbiter of peace. It wants to bring the two sides close to the negotiating table. It wants to play this neutral role. But there is symbolism in Wang Yi being here. He's not just the former foreign minister, but he's now the director of the Foreign Affairs Committee at the Chinese Communist Party. He's the top diplomat, if we can call him that, in China.
A long line of trucks at the Polish-Belarusian border crossing. All roads were closed between Poland and its neighbour Belarus on Tuesday. Tensions flared 2 weeks ago when ethnic Polish journalist Andrzej Poczubot, a critic of Lukashenko's regime in Belarus, was jailed for 8 years. Poland's initial response was to close the Bobrovniki border crossing, one of 2 direct land routes for trucks and motorists. A tit-for-tat row followed, with Minsk banning Polish trucks from entering via Lithuania or Latvia, followed by Poland's decision to withdraw consuls from the Belarusian cities of Grodno and Minsk.
A court in Iran has sentenced a German-Iranian dissident to death on the charge of corruption on earth. Jamshid Sharmahd is accused of being a leader of a pro-monarchist terrorist group. He denies the claim. Amnesty International have condemned what it calls a sham trial.
Jamshid Sharmahd can only look on, powerless. He's become yet another dual national Iran has sentenced to death. Amnesty International says Mr. Sharmahd hasn't had access to a lawyer of his own choosing, and that he was forced to confess.
This morning, as President Biden wraps up his 4-day trip to Europe, sources say the U.S. believes Russia carried out a test of an intercontinental ballistic missile capable of reaching the U.S. But it appears the launch failed, the test happening around the time Biden was in Ukraine Monday. The missile apparently able to carry 10 warheads and potentially travel farther and faster than old Russian designs. Sources say Russia notified the U.S. in advance of the launch. But Putin didn't mention the launch in his speech Tuesday, instead formally declaring that Russia will be temporarily suspending its participation in the New START treaty with the U.S., the last pact that regulates the 2 largest nuclear arsenals.
Somalian government forces are beginning to respond to an attack on a house in northern Mogadishu district of Abdiaziz, which killed 10 civilians. The attack in question has been claimed by Al-shabaab, a jihadist group linked to Al-Qaeda. According to the government, security forces rescued and extracted many of the civilians from the house and other nearby buildings during the attack. In recent months, the Somali army and local clan militias have retaken chunks of the territory from the militant in an operation backed by US airstrikes.
Shamima Begum has had her appeal dismissed by the court behind me. Mr. Justice Jay has decided to dismiss her appeal on all counts. This was an appeal to try and regain her British citizenship. It means that Shamima Begum will not be able to win back her British passport. It leaves her now very much in limbo. This was the 15-year-old schoolgirl that left East London bound for IS-controlled Syria in 2015. This appeal dismissal sides essentially with the government's argument that, yes, even if somebody has been brainwashed or has gone to Syria, they still pose a national threat